the celebrity topic, which is it's quite interesting. Just because I feel like this kid is it's kind of it's doing. I didn't think he was gonna last too long, but he definitely has been able to do this celebrity thing really well. Little Nas X, he recently was released a sneaker with blood, was made by a factory that does like shoes, like redesigned shoes. But the shoe was a Nike shoe, and because it has blood, Nike sued the company, and it was Lil Nas X was in all this trouble, and there was a lot of controversy because he did this, and he basically turned it around and did a whole sketch about this, about him being sued on YouTube to promote his new video. And if you look at the new video, it's again, I will definitely tell you to watch it. It is quite interesting. The video that he released, it plays a lot of again, he definitely is one of the first black people to represent his homosexuality. He's like full blown representing and owning it. And right now he is being because of that video, he is being part to teach about AIDS and be kind of like a catalyst for LGBTQs. Again, that's a different type of thing, but I mean, I don't really, I didn't think this kid was gonna. First, he came out with a country rap song. That was a controversy.
I think here's, and I know Hillary's topic, but if I may, first off, I don't understand why that the kid wouldn't have been successful, right? The whole thing for Little Nas X is that the kid is real and always has been, and I think anyone who has an issue with him being gay or saying he's gay or saying he's bi or doing whatever he's doing, listen, there has been talk and rumor of homosexuality in the hip hop community for fucking decades. People have been accusing Puffy, LL Cool J. There's been a bunch of fucking shit going on for decades. So anyone in hip hop who acts like, oh, this is something new and different, fuck you. Because now you're just mad because he actually came out and had the balls to say it. And now everyone's getting all weird about it. Secondly, the kid knows his social media. Like, he knows how to work shit. And the fact that he stays in his lane, doesn't get flustered by anybody or anything, and uses everything as good press is fucking genius. Now, back to the sneaker. It's an Air Max. It has a drop of blood on it. Nike wants to get all fucking self-righteous now, even though they make their fucking sneakers in factories of little children. Listen, I do not have anything to say positive about Nike. They make good clothes, but you know what? Their hands have blood on them as well. So the thing that I don't like about this is that you have American companies with this stupid Christian moral philosophy that everyone wants to fall back on when they don't like shit, right? Like, Nike has built their company on the backs of little children in third world countries for fucking decades and made billions of dollars off of this. People talk about Michael Jordan and the fact that, you know, black children have died needlessly over fucking Jordans made by Nike. So Nike has blood on their hands. Just because this happens to be a Satan sneaker, whatever you want to call it, and they want to get all fucking Judeo-Christian on this shit, listen, I think it's the dumbest shit in the world. I think Nike has bigger issues to deal with. And you know what? It's one of those things where it's a corporation picking and choosing when it wants to take the moral high ground and when it doesn't. And you know what, Lil Nas X, you know what? The country song was fucking genius, okay? Fucking genius. Billy Ray co-signing it, fucking genius, okay? And literally, the fact that the sample in that song he bought from Trent Reznor for $40 fucking dollars is fucking genius. It is genius. I have nothing but love for the kid. Good for him. Keep making your money. Do your thing. I wish I had the savvy for social media like he does. But anyway, I support him. I co-sign him. I'm in his corner. That's all I have to say.
All right, Hillary.
Well, I feel like, Fidel, you had more to say. Like, I have a lot to say based on what Alon said, but I feel like you were in the middle of a point. You can finish before we throw it to me if you want.
Well, the thing I was gonna say with him is that within some part is that Lil Nas X, I think it's one of the first people. Not only thinking hip hop. I think in mainstream music to own the homosexuality and the whole LGBT thing. And
What about George Michael? What about Elton John? What about he's not the first person to do
well, that's a great example. They didn't own it for a couple of years until they came out with histories and stuff like that. If you really see Rocket Man,
really, because like Boy George was like as open as anyone in Culture Club, right?
The same thing. He came out because of a press. Queen, Freddie Mercury, he came out because of an interview. Like they didn't came out by choice. They came out because his story. Lil Nas X came out by himself. He just said, "I'm out. I'm gay," and it was a different time too. Like all of those guys, there was this the 80s and the 70s. But a lot of them came out. Boy George, George Michael is very publicly that he came out because he got caught up in a public restroom.
Nah, dog. Everyone knew that everyone knew that boy
again, literally
there's a difference between knowing and openly coming out and admitting it. So
right, but Lil Nas,
I feel both of your points. I do.
That's the thing. He came out personally. Lil Nas is the first one. He had a big hit, and he said, "Okay, I just happen to be gay as well," right? But definitely, I think he's one of the first guys that I think that they have owned the whole thing since the get-go. That was the part that I was going to finish. Go ahead, Hillary.
I don't know where to start now. I guess like what I would say is that from my understanding about the shoe, I don't know how much it falls back on like Christianity, the suing him, as much as it's Nike on a branding high horse of like, you're not going to customize our shit in any way, shape, or form, and then make money off of it or act like this was your idea. They did already like drop the charges, which is why they were able to make this like kitschy skit video of Lil Nas X in jail or on trial, pretending it's about the shoe before the new videos released. In terms of thinking if he was going to last or not, I don't know that I loved what is it? Old Town Road. I think I can remember the word old. I don't know that I loved it that much. I thought it was like cheeky and that it was going to be overplayed, and it was. And I don't know that I thought his music was going to continue to be that sustainable, but I do agree with Alon that like his social media of just being able to he's had moments where he's been really vulnerable about his queerness and has talked about how much it does really upset him that is all everyone talks about when they watch his videos or interact with him, but then completely turning it around and making that the shtick. I think it's very funny. I think it's tongue in cheek. I do think that that's quite brilliant to constantly use negative press and spin it in a positive way. I think that that's what all celebrities should be doing. And I think it's great that he's super young, Black man killing this. In terms of the homosexual thing and the AIDS, I don't know if we want to necessarily get into this now, but I just think that it's asking any person who's gay to inform other people about AIDS is very dated, a bit horrific, and doesn't make sense. I like wrote the whole blog about this. As a Black person, I am not a monolith. I do not know everything about being Black. You can ask me about my perception. You can ask me about my perspective. You can ask me how I feel. But no, that doesn't mean I need to be going to schools educating people about the struggles of all Black people. I don't know them all. I only know mine as a Black woman from New Brunswick who has a lot of white Acadian influence. Asking Lil Nas X, who's gay, to go and teach kids about AIDS is really deplorable. It assumes that AIDS still only affects queer people, that he even wants to do this. Like, get someone who's studied sexually transmitted diseases and issues and who's an actual doctor and expert in this field to go. Don't just make some Black kid a mascot for queerness because he's using it as a means to be, to represent kids in the music thing. I think that being a Black queer hip hop artist is a different kind of representation. That doesn't mean that he now has to be like on the face of condoms. Queerness does not automatically mean like actual sex. It's, for me, it's identity before you should be thinking of like two people of the same gender literally having sex. And it's more about self-expression. Making him do that or even saying that he should do that is, to me, completely ignorant. Go ahead.
And I also want to clarify before I head to Clinton. I mean, Lil Nas X is the most popular queer hip hop artist, but there's been a lot like Open, like Leaf, Nika Blanco, Zebra Cats. There's a lot of queer hip hop artists that they're mostly underground, but they've been around and they've been openly gay. But Lil Nas X is probably the most successful one. Go ahead, Clinton.
I don't have a lot to say on the issue other than I really did like Old Town Road when it came out. It was trendy and catchy and childish, but I had kids and they were absolutely obsessed with it, so I heard it a lot. I listened to his whole EP at the time, and that was really the only banger on it. Like there wasn't a lot of other great tracks in my opinion. I don't know if Alon, you disagree.
You know what? Quickly,
But-
I thought the EP was really good. There was a lot of diverse. He had some rock tracks on there. He had some R&B tracks on there. He had a track with Cardi on there. I thought it was a good, just kind of mosaic of different styles. He went for it.
You're
It was
right.
his first EP, and he just tried everything. And I thought it was pretty good. He had at least 4 hit singles that went to radio off that EP. So I mean, I thought it was a pretty solid project.
I guess I was expecting more of a hip hop rap album or hearing more of the whole country rap conglomeration, right? And I guess he did go all over the place. I only listened to it once. It didn't really speak to me, and I haven't heard much from him since. I heard a part of this new song, and it's produced by Kanye. And I mean, the beat's sick, and it's well recorded and mixed, and the flow is good. I haven't even heard the whole song yet. So there's that. It's good that he's doing good. The Satan's Shoes thing, yeah, Nike, of course, they have to uphold their brand and they react to the public, right? So the public obviously very probably not liking that he's black, not liking that he was black and made a huge country hit, and now not liking that he's black, made a huge country hit, is gay, and is promoting Satan's Shoes. So so Nike was reacted to pressure and it didn't go so well with them. This may be an unpopular opinion, but I'm trying to wrap my head around why it's such a huge problem in some people's eyes to ask him to educate kids about AIDS. Because I remember growing up, and I mean, that's what celebrities do, right? Football players, baseball players, actors, they do these little TV shows or they make these pre-recorded videos that kids have to watch in a gymnasium and stuff like that. Just this idea, unless we get into a deeper conversation of why should any celebrity be a role model, or why should their opinions be considered valid or intelligent over anyone else just because they're a good actor or a good athlete?
Well,
But another thing, so Hillary, but what I didn't get from your blog is what was he specifically asked to educate children about? Maybe he would be the one going out there breaking down the stigma that AIDS can only be caught that AIDS is more prevalent in the queer community. Maybe he would use his voice and power and his influence to break some of those stigmas that you're saying are being created by asking him to do it in the first place. So if you have more information on what focus he would have in educating children on that would help me form an opinion, because it seems to me like it's not completely illogical to have him going out there doing that.
I mean, I have an answer to your question and a comment on what you said. Like, the answer to your question is, I don't think that it got that far. I think it was a Twitter, like people on Twitter being like, oh, he should be the spokesperson for this. He should talk about this. And people immediately being like, that's ignorant for a lot of reasons. And I can understand where you're coming from in terms of breaking the stigma, but for me, from my perspective, I think it encourages the stigma too much to get a homosexual person to do it, to then figure out a way to break down that barrier that's saying it's not all homosexual people who have AIDS. Like, unless you want to talk about the stigma in a different way, getting a gay Black man to talk about AIDS is very 1980s, the movie Philadelphia with Tom Hanks. And it's not getting a straight white man to talk about AIDS it's not getting anyone else to talk about it. It's getting someone that does still feed that same narrative. And in terms of celebrities, like, I haven't experienced what you just described in an extremely long time. I don't think we get celebrities to make those stupid videos anymore. I think we're at a point now where we do actually, for the most part, I'm thinking about COVID, but I think a lot of schools are encouraged to get actual experts on these issues, illnesses, etc., to come in. I haven't seen, like, I can't remember like Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen talking about like Hep C. For me, it was actual doctors. It was the people who were coming in and giving the vaccines for Hep A, Hep B, whatever it was. I don't, like, as a 27-year-old, I don't remember there being like the stars of the hills talking about STIs or their behavior. There was a lot of celebrities participating in a lot of disgusting behavior. and then actual experts, doctors coming to schools and talking about those repercussions, and teachers becoming the spokespeople because they couldn't afford to get doctors to come in. But for like, I never experienced that. And so that's, I think, part of the reason I find it weird to go back to getting to celebrities to endorse or propulse health standards when I think social media has uncovered the veil that they are the least healthy group of people. Their lifestyle alone is unhealthy. So I would find there to be a really big dissonance in getting Lil Nas X to talk about AIDS. One, because I think it's problematic. But two, who are we, like what if he then later gets it? Like, I don't want his life to be a part of the teachings of my kids. I would want to take it upon myself and the people that I trust, which would be doctors, because I'm that type of person.
What would make you think he'd be more likely to get it than anyone else?
I don't think so. But what happens if he does because he's a celebrity, and there's the stereotype that celebrities indulge in doing whatever they want more because they have the money to do whatever they want? I also just don't think it should be on one person who's allowed to live their life in any way, shape, or form to come back and have that responsibility, to have a message and then own up to it. Like all the sports people who were like, don't smoke weed. And here we are at the Olympics still having these different discussions, but now weed is legal. Times change. I would rather a doctor who has a degree tell me, and if they're wrong, well, it's on their education and the money they wasted at Harvard, not their livelihood. Like, it's not the same to me.
It's legal in Canada, but not everywhere in the world, if we're talking about the Olympics.
Yes.
And I may not have understood this or heard this in the beginning, but are we having a conversation about a Twitter feed about a potential thing that no one of power or influence actually asked him to do? And
I think he was actually asked to do it.
That's kind of funny.
I think he was actually asked.
Yeah, if he was asked, I see Hillary.
Yeah, it's more of a problem if someone of influence asked him to do it, but if this is just a Twitter conversation, it's an interesting topic.
But it shouldn't be a topic, though, because it is very dated.
Anything.
That's true, but I mean, it's a very dated philosophy, right? To think
who would be better than him?
A doctor. Who else?
That's my thing.
Sorry. Okay, so no celebrities at all. Okay,
I don't
totally
think
agree with
so.
that.
Yeah,
that's
like
why.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry for all of the over talking, but that's my issue. I don't think you should get a queer celebrity to talk about AIDS, but I don't think we should be getting celebrities to talk about these things at all.
Right,
it's like one, completely ignorant to ask him to do it because it dates it. But why are we asking celebrities to be spokespeople for things that they didn't go to school for? You want to be
because of this.
Like he should be teaching media marketing and how to use TikTok to these kids' advantages.
Yeah,
that would be something he should
be
teaching.
Like, no one's asking Gene.
It's because of this dated idea that. It's because of this dated idea, like I just mentioned, that people who are successful at making music or hitting a baseball are somehow have some kind of higher authority, or making movies have some kind of higher authority or intelligence in terms of educating the greater public on topics, which is a really stupid concept. And I totally agree with you there.
And I also think it's a generational thing.
I didn't think I'd have a lot to say on this, but I guess I did. So cool.
Yeah, I think it's a generational thing because Hillary said it. Like, I think in my era and our era, there was that celebrity thing, and now information is everywhere, right? You can find information everywhere, and I don't think people, again, it doesn't make any sense for a celebrity to talk about something that they're not an expert in. It just doesn't make any sense. Somebody that should be an expert should talk about the subject matter. But yeah, regarding to the Lil Nas X part with the Twitter, I mean, a lot of things started on Twitter. Me Too movement started on Twitter, and that's a reality. And certain things can transition, that's the world that we live in, that certain things do transition from social media to the real world. But I mean, again, I think Lil Nas X should be an artist. I think he should be whoever he wants to be and start, making music and being a celebrity. Other than that, I don't see anything else unless he wants to become something else. There's no reason. Go ahead, Hillary.
I found all the information I should have started this whole conversation with. Please forgive me. He kissed another man at the BET Awards recently. That caused a bunch of tweets saying that is a way to get AIDS. And now all of these people want there to be clarification because you cannot get AIDS through saliva. And so that is where it came from. The idea that he started this conversation by kissing on stage. How dare he? That he must now educate the world on the truth about AIDS, because everyone is tweeting him basically saying like, you're gonna make the kids get AIDS because they all gonna be kissing, and everyone's trying to be like, that's not how this works. And so then someone was like, Lil Nas X should teach these kids how it actually works, which is very bad. Voila la formation.
I think, yeah, that would be really bad. I think we should definitely get somebody that is an expert, especially when it's called a sexual transmitted disease. You should get a sexual transmitted disease expert, which there's a lot of those people right now that could actually tell you how you get AIDS. But yeah, I mean, I don't think, again, I think he's a talented guy, but I don't think any other than that, if he wants to become something else, he could. But this is especially a very difficult topic for a lot of people, because it's a very touchy subject. And it's kind of sad that it was in BET that it's a black network, quote unquote, that this started happening. I mean, it's definitely.
But
I mean, sorry, I'll just say really quickly. No. It's not like it's the network who is shitting on him. It's anyone who watched on Twitter. This could have happened at the Grammys. It could have happened at the Oscars. It's the people consuming it. And unfortunately, white people still also watch the BET.
Yeah, white people.
So there's nothing to say that all of these tweets aren't still coming from white homophobic people who are uneducated and not black people who are uneducated. I don't know who's tweeting these tweets. I wouldn't necessarily blame the black community for being closed-minded, but there's a group of people that are closed-minded / just don't know how AIDS work and need to take a course.
See, but I feel it is because it was on BET, and I feel that the black community really needs to own up to the fact that, homosexuality, like I said earlier, has been around forever. It's not going anywhere. And I think, unfortunately, that when it comes to the black community, and when it comes to, certain aspects of black culture and social graces, that homosexuality is still one of those taboo subjects in the black community. So it's like I said earlier, I think it's one of those things where I think we as a people just need to understand and come to grips with the fact that this is reality for all races of people, whether black, white, Asian, whatever. It is what it is. So that's how I feel about it. I think if this, when you had Madonna and Miley kissing, or whoever Madonna kissed or whoever Miley kissed before, no one said shit, everyone thought it was hot, and we kept it moving, right? So I do feel that there is an aspect of that it was on that it was the BET Awards, that it was a predominantly black award show, and so on and so forth, that this all of a sudden now is becoming a Twitter topic, right? So but again, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, shout out to Lil Nas X. I mean, he's doing his thing, and again, I agree. I think people should keep it moving. I mean, I don't understand. So what? I mean, yeah, he's gay. Cool, amazing, great, good for him. I mean, you like his music, buy it. You like his stuff, get it. There's nothing really a lot to do on that, but shout out to him. So, all right, I think we gave people a good enough time. So, you guys have anything else to say?
I would like to just say very briefly, because I feel like I would be a bad queer if I didn't. His queerness is not a touchy subject. Everyone else's reaction to it is. Just in terms of the fact that you said that, I feel like, his queerness is his. Like you just said, let's keep it moving. Let him live his life. What's touchy is everyone else.
That's facts. I agree.
That's how I would like to end this.
That is true. Let him be him. I mean, there's no other reason. Let him be him. There's no reason you let everybody else be. What's the problem with him? He's an artist.